We're going to look at the Infotech solution for service management in Dynamics NAV. We're going to start with a quote, convert it into an order, create a job, and then look at handling of the job in Dynamics NAV. In this case, let's start with a quote. I'm going to create a new quote for a customer. In this case, it's going to be Susan Phillips. And Susan's on the phone with us, and she called us and she requested us to do this job for tomorrow. So I'm going to fill in the date that she requested this job to be completed on. I'm going to fill in a salesperson code, John Roberts in this case, and I'm going to fill in what kind of job this is. In this case, Susan is a residential customer, so we're going to choose a type of resource, and we'll choose a residential job. We can type a short description. In this case, let's say it's repair. And in this case, we can fill in the number of hours, the estimated number of hours it's going to take us to do this job. And let's say it's a 3-hour job. If we know we are going to need certain parts for our repair, we can fill them in here as well. I'm going to choose an item, and we're going to do a simple lamp. And because one lamp is dull, we're going to take 2 of them. If we know any prices for this, it will either pull it out of our system, or if we want to just fill it in, let's say 75 hours or $75 per hour, and let's say our lamp is going to be $6.50. That should give us some prices to work with. At this point on the right-hand side, we can see a history we've had with this customer. So we can see that we have a current quote. We have 1 order in the system already. We can see any information about our parts. If we have availability for this part, you can see that we have 101 lamps at this point in stock. If we want to, we can look at this information by clicking on these numbers, and it'll pull up additional information for that. Once we have our quote filled in and the customer is okay with it, we can turn this quote into an order by pressing the Make Order button. The system will ask for confirmation and change it into an order. Our new order is 1012. If we go over to our sales orders, we open up order 1012. The system will have taken all the information that we filled in on our quote and moved it to our order. At this point, we can create a job for our order by going to Actions and saying Create Job. At this point, we have a new job. If I go back to my role center, our job was a job on 6.3. It is currently 6.2. So if I go to Future Jobs, we can see a new job for Susan Phillips in our system. If we take a look at this job, we can see that it has an estimated hours of 3. It has a starting date on 6.3. And if we take a look at the job planning lines, we can see that it has a line for a resource to be filled in, and it has whatever parts we selected on our quote added to our job as well. There is not yet a person responsible or a resource assigned to this job. It has not yet been scheduled. It's been set for a certain date, but there's no starting times, ending times, or anything like that. And that's going to be the next step. So we now have a job as a placeholder for the scheduler to come through and schedule it. Scheduling is easiest done in the job schedule. The job schedule will pull up all jobs that have been scheduled in the past or that still need to be scheduled. And in this case, the easiest way to get to any jobs that still need scheduling is to go to the unassigned jobs. In this case, we have 2 jobs that have not yet been assigned or scheduled completely. We have a job for Nancy Dunham and our new job for Susan Phillips. In order to schedule it, I would choose the person responsible. And in this case, let's say Timothy is going to be the person who's going to handle this job. For Timothy, I can pick a starting time. It's a 3-hour job that starts at 3 p.m. What the system will automatically do is take the estimated time and put in an ending time for that job. We can adjust this time if we have more information about how much it's going to take. If we know that Timothy is a particularly fast worker, we'll say 2.5 hours. And the system will adjust to say it's going to be done at 5:30 p.m. Once we have the job scheduled, we can also take a look at the job through our visual viewer. And the visual job schedule viewer will show us all the jobs in a nice view. We can choose how many days we want to see in our view. And in this case, we're just looking at today and tomorrow. So our current jobs for today are here. Let me zoom in. We can see that Linda has a number of jobs, or Linda has one large job for today, and it looks like Mark has 3 different jobs. The green jobs are currently completed, so we can see that Mark got through his first job and he's underway to his next job right now. And Linda is still on her very large 8-hour job. If you hover over the jobs, you can see more information about them, how much they're going to take, when they are planned, who they are for. Another way to look at the jobs is to expand the user groups here. So if I open up Mark Hansen's group, you'll see the different jobs that are here, and you can also see what the planning hours are on those jobs. The job we assigned to Timothy. So if I open up Timothy's job, you can see that Susan Phillips, the job we scheduled for him, this is slated for tomorrow. So if I move my time scale over to tomorrow, you can see that our 2.5-hour job starting at 5 o'clock and reaches till starting at 3 o'clock and reaches till 5:30. If you want more information about the jobs, you can double-click on the sections, and it'll open up the job planning lines for us. The job planning line has been updated with the scheduled information, the start time, end time, and the resource number. Then we close the scheduler, and let's look at the controls we have for the operator. The operator has the option to look at today's jobs. The scheduler can look at unassigned jobs. If there is any future jobs or future workload, that would come in handy for a scheduler as well. The future workload would show all future hours that are in the system. There is a box for the closed jobs as well. The operator would use today's job list to start and stop jobs and record time against them. In this case, the Peter Shank job is already completed. Susan Phillips' job that has been scheduled for today has not been started yet. The easiest way for the operator to record time against this job is to push the start button up here. At that point, the system will message that the job has been started, and it will record the actual starting time in the screen. At this point, the system is tracking any time spent on that job until the timer is stopped. Once the timer is stopped, the system will gather the time and post it against the job. If the operator needs information about the job, the open button will pull up the information that is pertinent to this job. Who's been scheduled for the job, how much time it's scheduled to take, any comments about that job, any parts that might be required. All that information is available here. This is the view that an operator would see in order to handle his jobs. This view could be available on an iPad, a Windows tablet, an Android tablet, and there are clients on each of these platforms that are native clients that can show the information. On the left-hand side, you see fact boxes that show you overviews of today's jobs, future jobs, closed jobs, workload, and any unassigned jobs that might be in the system. In the middle section, you can see today's jobs and any report inbox items that have come in. Today's jobs will show the list of our tasks that have to be performed today. You can see in the status that this first job here has been completed, and we have 3 open jobs still to handle. Let me take a look at this second job for Susan Phillips. If I open the job, the system will give me more information about the job, where this job needs to be performed, who is scheduled for the job, what the estimated hours are, and so on and so forth. And in the bottom there are comments about this job. It could be instructions for the installation or repair person to look at. And what we also have is we have job planning lines. If there are any parts or resources scheduled for this job, they will show up in the job planning lines. Once the operator is ready to start this job, he can press the start button, and that'll start a clock against this job. The actual starting time is recorded on the right-hand side here, and it will keep tracking time until the operator stops the clock. At that point, all gathered time will be posted against the job as labor. Once we've entered the quote completely, we can print it or email it to the customer. A print to PDF looks like this. There's a logo on the left top, sell to, ship to information, general information about the quote, then an overview of the quote with the prices we've selected, and a total in the bottom. Another option we have is to take this quote to Word to do some editing after the fact. This process looks like this. At this point we have control over the verbiage. We can add some extra comments if needed. Once we are done, we can save and send this quote to the customer.